Speech and language development is a gradual process that requires years of practice. During this time, a child learns how to understand spoken language, then how to process language, and finally, how to use spoken language. However, by the first grade, roughly 5% of children have noticeable speech and language disorders, the majority of which have no known cause.
The goal of early childhood education is to prepare young children for kindergarten and success in school. To do this, early childhood educators have to really provide children with a stimulating classroom environment with strong literacy materials.
Currently, autism is one of the most common developmental disabilities, affecting approximately 400,000 individuals in the United States alone. Recent statistics suggest 1 in 88 children born today will be affected by this disorder. At the core of this disorder is the inability to effectively use speech and language appropriately.
Children with autism often have communication, language disabilities. They have social skills deficits, and they often resist interacting with adults. Read It Once Again, through its emphasis on rhyme, rhythm, and repetition, seem to be the best fit to help us meet these children's needs.
Typically, literature and storybooks are used to support theme units in most preschool classrooms. Stories are changed often, and children with receptive and expressive language delays, such as those with autism, are not always given the opportunity and time necessary that it takes to become familiar with key words and cognitive concepts found within the stories.
Research findings suggest that Read It Once Again can help children develop basic, essential language and early literacy skills. Read It Once Again is designed to promote a language and literacy-rich environment using classic children's stories and nursery rhymes. And the daily reading and repetition of the stories and of the nursery rhymes seems to reinforce the rhyme, the rhythm, the repetition of language, and the development of essential early literacy and language skills such as phonemic awareness and expressive vocabulary.
Read It Once Again, created by Ray Shaper, uses familiarity and literary repetition to support delayed language development and cognitive learning.
There was a little fellow in my classroom, and his name was Rashad. And he is really the light bulb that went off in my head that says, this is what we're going to do. Rashad would come to me every single day, and he'd stick a book under my nose, and he would say, read to me. Well, that was fine, except for 2 reasons. Number 1, Rashad wanted the same book read over and over and over and over. Number 2, he wanted it at 8 o'clock in the morning when all of the buses were coming and teachers were picking up their kids and parents were dropping them off in the classroom, so I couldn't read that entire book. So I decided I would condense the book. I would clip pages together, I would skip pages, and Rashad would say, that's not how it goes, and I would have to go back and read that story exactly how Rashad had memorized it. That was the key phrase of knowing that Rashad had read that book over and over and over, and he had repeated and repeated and repeated that book until he memorized it.
Repetition is an important teaching strategy used with the Read It Once Again curriculum. Research indicates that a different neural pathway is created every time a new concept is introduced to a child's brain. The more we repeat and use the neural pathway, the more it becomes thicker and stronger. Therefore, the information contained on that neural pathway is more likely to be retained. While many early childhood curriculums may touch on beginning basic skills, Read It Once Again uses rhyme, rhythm, and repetition as a strategy to ensure that there is an intentional, extended focus on the most basic skills, such as sequencing, positional concepts, and memory skills. These, along with other foundational concepts, are necessary for future academic success.
Our recent research findings indicate that children who participated in the Read It Once Again intervention performed significantly better on measures of rhyming, which is a phonemic awareness skill, than children who did not participate in Read It Once Again. The repeated readings of the stories and recitations of the nursery rhymes in the curriculum may also reinforce the development of vocabulary, which is also considered a critical foundational component related to literacy development. Again, with our recent research findings, they indicated that children who participated in the Read It Once Again intervention performed significantly better on measures of rapid picture naming, and this is a measure of expressive vocabulary, than children who did not participate in Read It Once Again.
Read It Once Again activities reinforce basic fundamental concepts and are systematically offered in a variety of literacy-based lessons throughout every unit. and in each domain.
The curriculum provides you with the structure of your day, and as we go through our day, we use the same, those same goals and objectives and skills are practiced during our center time, during our story time, during our large group time, during our PE time, during our snack time, and during our outside play time. So the children have many, many opportunities to practice the same skill in many, many different ways, whether it's through gross motor movement, fine motor movement, songs, all throughout the day it gets to be practiced.
Read It Once Again uniquely provides a flexible structure where the environment and teaching strategies are solidly predictable with elements of creativity and exploration woven into each day.
It allows us to incorporate a lot of different disciplines within an activity. For instance, if I wanted to do some sort of sensory activity along with the story that I'm doing, I might get the occupational therapist involved, and she might come up with a sensory activity that the kids do at the table that's part of the story. We can take a lot of elements of the stories and just incorporate our occupational goals and occupational therapy and physical therapy and speech-language goals.
Read It Once Again curriculums provide educators with powerful tools to help young children acquire basic foundational speech and language skills. Spoken language is not learned from a computer or TV screen. It requires person-to-person interaction. More than ever, in this age of advancing technology, children need to interact face-to-face.
It becomes very, very critical that when the child can take the book home at the end of the unit, we are now jump-starting literacy at a very early age in the home. And it also engages the parent as a part of the teaching process with this curriculum. Being prepared in kindergarten actually affects high school dropout rates. If our children in our nation are given a solid educational foundation, they have a much better chance of being successful all the way through their educational career.
We also know from some recent economic and marketing studies that for every $1 that's spent in early childhood investment, we can reap about $7 in return.
For more information, visit www.readitonceagain.com or call 877-470-5156.